All right. You may call your next witness.
Next witness is Rolonzo Rawles, Your Honor.
All right, begin. Stand in the middle and raise your right hand for me, sir. Thank you.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Have a seat. You
May
may
it please the
proceed.
court. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning still. I
Yep.
apologize. Could you go ahead and state your full name for the court reporter?
Rolonzo Rawles Sr.
And Mr. Rawles, what do you do for work?
School counselor.
And what school system do you currently work with?
I currently work with Virginia Beach Public Schools.
And before your time with Virginia Beach Public Schools, were you employed by the Newport News Public Schools?
I was.
And what was your job title then?
School counselor.
And what school, if any, were you working at in January of 2023?
Rich Neck Elementary.
And were you at work on campus January 6, 2023 at Rich Neck Elementary?
Yes.
Mr. Rawls, I'm going to show you if we can publish for you. It's a little roadmap. It should pop up on your screen.
Okay.
And it's just to give you an idea of the nature of the questions that I'm going to ask you today, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to talk about information generally, but I want to talk to you first about what you learned on January 6th, what you shared and who you shared it with,
Okay.
and then what information you received back, okay?
Okay.
On January 6th, was there a time in which you had a conversation about a student who we're calling JT?
Yeah. Or later probably later that afternoon, I had a conversation about JT.
And when you say later, give us a context of what that means in your life at Rich Neck.
Probably late afternoon. Rich Neck was what's called a B or C school. I can't remember exactly how they determined it, but it was a later school, so number time they didn't dismiss until around about late 3:45, almost 4 o'clock. So I believe on that date, it was around, probably it was after 12, so I'd say between the hours of 12:45 to like 1:15, around that time is when I was informed about some information about JT.
And who informed you of information about JT?
Originally, it was kind of like indirect. I spoke to Miss West, who was the teacher, first grade teacher across the hall from Mrs. Zwerner. So she had brought to my attention that there was a student from her classroom that was transferred over to her classroom that was very upset about a situation that he was information was passed on to him that really was upsetting him, and she wanted me to speak to him, that particular student.
I'm going to unpack that a little bit just to
Okay.
make sure we're tracking. And my understanding is that you used to call Miss Werner Mrs. E, is that right?
Yes.
And it's totally okay
Yep.
to call her Miss C in the courtroom as well. So you had a conversation with Miss West
Miss
in which
West.
she communicated that there was a boy that was in her classroom that
He was currently in Miss West's classroom, but he was in Miss Z's classroom as a student. Yeah.
got it. So again, I just want to make sure everyone's tracking.
All right.
This is a boy that's not JT,
No.
correct? Who was assigned to Mrs. E's classroom on a normal day-to-day basis.
Correct.
And on this day, January 6th, he was physically in Miss West's classroom,
Correct.
And that classroom is across the hall from Miss Z's classroom.
Correct.
And it was while he was in Miss West's classroom that Miss West shared with you that she gathered information from this boy.
Yes.
And just the first initial of the boy, just so we can track him. What's the first initial of his first name?
R.
And so this boy R, did Miss West share with you what the boy R shared with her?
Yes.
And what was that?
Basically, she said he was upset because JT during recess time had mentioned to him something to the fact that he had some type of ammunition or bullets, I think the terminology was utilized, and he showed him or displayed it to him. And during that time, he also told R that if he had told anybody that he was going to harm him in some type of way. I think the word was to shoot.
And again, I just want to unpack so we're tracking the people correctly.
Mm-hmm.
It was conveyed to you that JT had informed R that he had bullets,
Mm-hmm.
and that if R said anything about it, JT would shoot him.
Yes.
Did you interpret that as a threat?
At the time when I spoke to R, I did not, because he was not very coherent about what he was trying to display. And personally, I just didn't think, because I've spent a lot of time with JT. I had been part of his, treatment plan for like a year and a half. So
We're not going to get too
yeah, but make a long story short,
I
I did not answer the question.
Okay, but you did. It raised concerns enough to you to have a conversation with Dr. Parker,
Yes.
and those concerns were specific about the report that you had just received about something with bullets and shooting.
Yeah, because normal time we have that, you try to investigate. So we wanted to look into it. Yes.
And so, as from that information, did you then? So that's sort of what we learned, right? So we have bullets plus a shoot. And did you take that information and share it with anybody?
Well, I can't recall if I shared it per se, besides the teachers who already shared it with me. But we did want to look into if he had some type of ammunition or things to figure out where that might be at. So we asked about the backpack and where he might store that particular items at.
And you're using the term we,
Yeah.
so I just want to make sure we're tracking who the we stands for there.
Well, we at the time would probably be Miss West and Miss Z.
Okay, and so this is a conversation amongst you three,
Mm-hmm.
and then did you then take that conversation and go talk to Dr. Parker?
Yeah, I asked because they said that they had already, I was informed they had already checked his backpack. The backpack was in possession of the administration at that time. So I said, well, even if they checked his backpack and that it was in there, had they checked his person? And they said no one had checked his person at that time. So my request was to go to speak to administration about checking his person.
And was that your understanding of how things went at Rich Neck Elementary?
To an extent, in my experiences.
And so you go to administration. Who do you go to specifically in administration?
Principal or assistant principal, whoever is in pretty much like my boss or in charge.
And on that day, January 6th, who did you go speak with?
I spoke to Dr. Parker.
And when you went to speak with Dr. Parker, did you ask about searching the person?
Well, we discussed about the backpack, and then I did ask, would it be okay if I checked this person? Yes.
And what did Dr. Parker say back to you?
She basically said, because he was on a certain plan, that they had already checked the backpack, nothing was in there. So she said, well, his mother will be coming to get him soon, so we can hold off and wait, and maybe when mom comes and pick him up, we can check his person at that time.
And did you interpret that conversation as giving you permission to go search JT?
No, I took it as in she wanted me to hold off, and I didn't want to step over any boundaries, so I wasn't going to check him without permission. So, because we didn't have any security or anything at that time.
And so, do you recall approximately what time that conversation ended between you and Dr. Parker?
I don't recall the time.
Do you recall at some point in time, just so I'm tracking in terms of timeline, we just talked about information received, which
Right.
was your conversation with Dr. Parker.
Correct.
And other than what we've just addressed in terms of information received, the statement she made to you about waiting for mom, was there any other information that she conveyed to you at that time?
Not that I recall, no.
What did you, Mr. Rawls, do as a result of that conversation?
I just went back. I left out of the office, and I did go back to Mrs. Z's classroom. And I walked into the classroom, and I do remember Mrs. Z was in the back of her classroom at like what they call the moon table. And as the students were working, and I expressed to her, I said, well, I spoke to Mr. Dr. Parker. She said she didn't want me to check his person at this time. And I told her if she would need any more assistance, just to let me know. And that was pretty much it. And after that, I left and went back to my office.
How soon after that conversation with Miss Z did you receive any sort of information about a shooting?
I didn't receive anything until they came over the announcements with the lockdown.
And tell us about what you heard then.
Well, when the lockdown originally went, it just sounded like it might have been a drill. And in any school lockdown, you know, you're supposed to stay in place, lock your doors and things of that nature. So I just proceeded to do so, cut my lights off, turn my door down, because my office is far on the other end of the building where the classroom is at. But then maybe momentarily, maybe a few seconds after that, another frantic lockdown was mentioned over the loudspeaker, and I knew something was not right.
And when you say you knew something was not right, what did you do after you heard the frantic call? I know, Mr. Rawls. It's okay.
I got on the walkie-talkie and asked did anybody need assistance, and no one answered. So procedure is not to leave my area, but I left my area to go around the corner to see what was going on. As I proceeded to go around, passing the cafeteria area, down the main hall, and there's another main hall area where it heads down to the front office. There were janitors in the hallway, and I could see speckles of blood on the floor, and we were cleaning it up. And I said, you know, what are you guys doing? You know, it's a lockdown. You know, I ain't supposed to be out there. And one of the janitors mentioned to me, they said, they got him. And I'm like, they got who? And they were like, the student in the classroom out here. So I proceeded past the janitors into Mrs. E's classroom because the only door was open. And as I stepped in, Mrs. Miss Amy had JT over in the corner, and she had him like in like a hold, not like a restraint, but like just hold, like holding him by his arms. And I said, "What's going on?" And she said, he shot her. And I said, "He did what?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Where's the weapon? Where's the gun?" And she had pointed across to the hall. So I walked through the classroom on the far end, and the weapon was on the floor. My initial reaction was because another janitor wasn't still inside the classroom at the time as well, and I didn't know would he try to break away from the reading specialist, Miss Amy.
Can I
to
ask
get
you
over.
a quick follow-up?
Yes.
Was the police on scene yet?
No.
Okay. And so you saw the weapon on the floor in the classroom before the police arrived?
Yes.
And then from what you could tell in your observation, did the gun stay in that location until the police arrived?
Yes, because like I was saying, I was going to move it because I wasn't sure was he going to try to get at it again. But I wasn't going to touch it without a glove or something, so I asked the janitor or so to get me a glove or something. And before that even occurred, that's when the officers did proceed into the classroom.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls.
Mm-hmm.
prior to January 6th, was there ever an occasion in which you attempted to search a student for another reason?
Not that I recall, no.
Were you ever provided, or were you ever given any warnings or reprimand not to search a student without someone present or administrators present?
Not that I recall, no.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Rawles. How are you?
All right.
I just have a few questions for you so the jury can hear the whole story. You mentioned that you'd worked with a student before, JT,
Yes,
and you were part of his student success team, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, and he had some behavioral issues?
Yes.
And he also had some learning issues?
yes,
And you were very familiar with him?
correct,
And he had been taken to Dr. Parker's office on multiple occasions?
yes,
And in fact, 2 days before, he threw Ms. Zwerner's cell phone, correct?
yes.
And you were called to her room either by Ms. Zwerner or Ms. West, correct?
Yeah, I was called on a walkie-talkie.
They
yes.
told you, come down and get him and take him out of here, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, Friday, January 6th was a little bit different, wasn't it?
Yes,
You were, in fact, dealing with student A, with Ms. West's class,
okay, yes,
and you and Ms. A were dealing with student A who had caused a major disruption in the school, correct?
when you say a student A, who are you referring to exactly? I'm
The
sorry.
student A who was in Ms. West's class that you had taken to your office. Do you recall taking a student into your office to counsel them? Student
Yeah,
A.
that wasn't that wasn't Mrs. West's classroom. That was another student, and she was a first grade student, but that wasn't Mrs. West's
Okay,
classroom.
so you had brought student A back down to the classroom,
Yes,
right? And then you learned Ms. West talked to you about something she wanted to tell you about student R.
correct.
Okay, but Ms. West didn't seek you out.
No, that I didn't think of. No,
You came down the hall and sort of stumbled on this
I
information.
stumbled onto the information.
So at that point, you had heard nothing about JT that day.
Not to that point, I recall. No,
Okay. In fact, you knew he'd come back from suspension.
I knew that. Yes.
Okay, and at some point you'd checked in to see how he was doing that day.
Yeah, I think I walked past the hall. I don't think if I came exactly into the classroom, but I came down the hallway area.
Okay, and you hadn't heard anything other than what student R told you.
I recall. No.
Okay, so you took student R outside in the hall and spoke to him.
Yes.
Never heard anything about a gun.
No, not about her.
You heard something about bullets.
Mhm.
And because student R was 5 or 6, you decided, did you feel like you needed to investigate it?
Well, like yeah, that's why I went to ask about the bag and everything. Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Werner never sought you out about JT that day, correct?
That I recall. No.
And you didn't hear any walkie-talkie traffic about JT that day?
If it wasn't directed towards me. No.
Okay. And so you spoke with R outside of Ms. West's classroom. And when you spoke with R, you didn't feel the need to take him to the office, correct?
Oh, R?
Yes.
No.
And JT was across the hall in Ms. Werner's classroom.
Yes, I believe so,
And
yes.
you didn't feel the need to take R out of the classroom, did you?
Not at R or at JT.
JT.
No, not at that time. No.
And you are a member of you're a guidance counselor and you're involved in discipline and counseling students on discipline.
Well, guiding them, yes, not so much in charge of discipline. No.
But you do counsel students.
Yes.
And you're probably a member of the threat assessment team at the time?
Yes. Probably.
Okay. So at that time, you did not feel the need to remove JT from Ms. Werner's classroom?
No.
You didn't feel the need to clear the classroom?
No.
Didn't feel the need to call for a lockdown at the school?
No.
So what you did is you went and talked to Dr. Parker.
Yes.
And you and Dr. Parker had been talking about student A as well, correct?
The one that I brought back from the classroom.
Yes.
I may have mentioned, but that was a situation that I knew was kind of under control after I brought that student back. Yes.
Okay. So if Dr. Parker was involved in dealing with student A, you just don't have any knowledge of that?
No, I don't know.
Okay. So you go back and you talk to Dr. Parker and you tell her, you have some conversation.
Yes.
And that was over many years ago now. We're past 3 years ago?
Yes.
And do you recall the exact details of the conversation?
I don't the exact details. I just know that it had been brought to my attention about the backpack had been checked, and what had been said about the ammunition or bullets, and I was like, well, if he has nothing within his possession within the backpack, would it be okay to check his person? That was the conversation I do remember.
Okay, and Dr. Parker didn't refuse refuse the search of the person, did she?
I don't even want to call it refusal. She just said we would hold it off. It was not that the fact that maybe she didn't want to check later, but I know it was at that time. No, she didn't want me to check.
She didn't want to check at the time. She wanted to wait for his mother to get there. And you've stated that you understood why, because he's 6 and
Yeah.
checking a person.
Yeah, I didn't want to step over any boundaries in that situation. No,
And you didn't feel the need to go around Dr. Parker, did you?
no, I did not.
You didn't feel the need to track down Principal Newton and say, Ms. Newton, we've got a situation here. Dr. Parker won't let me search that child. You didn't feel that at all.
No.
And in fact, you decided to go back to your office.
Yeah, I went back to speak to Mrs. Zwerner first, then I went back to my office. Yes.
And then you were in your office, and at some point, you understood that there was a lockdown.
Yes.
And you came down the hall,
Yes.
and you saw the janitors,
Yes.
and they were mopping blood.
Yes.
And you understood did one of them say something to you?
Yeah, they said they got him.
And when they said they got him, did you say, oh, it's JT, it must be JT? Is
No.
that what
No,
did you
that
have
was
any
my-
idea who they were talking about?
I had no idea.
And it wasn't until you went in the room
Yes.
that you knew that it was JT.
Yes.
And the law enforcement came,
Eventually, yeah.
and after that, you went back to your office
Yes.
and you cried, didn't
Yes.
you? Because this was shocking to you.
Yeah.
And Mr. Rawls, at any time when you were dealing with this situation, up until the time you saw that child in Miss Kovac's room, did you ever think that JT was a threat to that school?
In my personal opinion, in the time I spent with him, I wouldn't have thought he would have took it to that level. No.
Did you think that you were comfortable leaving him in the classroom while you had the conversation with Dr. Parker and then going back to your office? It was
Yeah.
an evolving, and isn't it true that it wasn't a credible threat at that point?
I didn't think it would have been. No.
That's all the questions I have.
Any regret?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Rawls, you were asked about your feelings and how you didn't feel like you needed to ask or do certain things that day. Do you recall that?
Right.
You did have a bad feeling, though.
I felt more regret after.
Well, when you were interviewed by Ms. Farish, do you recall that? She was with the Newport News Public School System.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know he had a lot of concerns, and he had anger management issues, and maybe so because the interaction me and him had was different than he might have had with other people, and maybe that's why I didn't feel he was such a credible threat. But I can't determine if that's how
Right,
what it was.
and sometimes people's actions towards different people varies.
All right.
And this is a 6-year-old who 2 days prior took specific action against Mrs. Z.
All right.
And so you had a good understanding at that time that she might treat her differently that he treated you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you spoke with Miss Farish and you were talking about the incidents, that was close in time to when it actually happened, right?
Right.
It was in January of 2023 that you had that conversation.
All right.
And when you went into Mrs. Z's classroom with the information from Dr. Parker, that was sort of hang tight.
Yeah.
What was Mrs. Z's demeanor?
I just remember her facial expression. It was kind of like a look of shock. I know her eyes were very wide, and she just kind of looked at me very strangely. That was the outcome of my request. But that's why I try to encourage her that I would be there for her if she needed me.
To hang tight. And is that one of the reasons you didn't have a good feeling?
Probably.
You were asked earlier about never having heard anything about a gun. Do you
Right.
recall that question? I'll give you a
Yeah.
moment. someone said the word gun to you, would it have changed your impression?
If I put myself back in that moment, and like I said, a lot of time has elapsed, I can't definitely say what my thoughts would have been.
I understand. And when it was conveyed to you that it was bullets, and you had asked for permission to search his person,
Mm-hmm.
what was it that you, in your mind, were searching for?
In my mind, I would probably searching to see if he might have had some type of item of, because sometimes we talk about elementary students, and I have been doing this job for a long period of time, and bullets could be like, somebody might think a bullet was like the end of a pencil eraser. I explained this before, or some different item that might have been the shiny. So it's just the fact that the reason why I asked to search his person, because I want to be more definite about if he has something on his person or not.
And that includes search to see if he had a gun.
Right.
And the message that you learned of was that it was bullets, and if he says anything about it, he's going to shoot.
Right.
How do you shoot bullets?
I'm telling you, shoot with a gun.
Those are all the questions I have.
Just a few. You were, Mr. Rawls, you were asked about the interview by Ms. Farish, is
Right.
that correct? Do you recall in the interview with Ms. Farish talking about feeling guilty for not preventing the shooting?
Right.
And did you recall saying that that's hindsight
Objection,
bias?
Your Honor. Relevance.
All right. What's the relevant?
He asked about the interview with Ms.
Yeah,
Farish.
you
I'll-
kind of
I'll-
opened the door on his feelings, so I'm going to overrule that.
That's okay.
And do you recall saying that's hindsight bias that you were feeling?
Hindsight bias. Regret, guilt. Hindsight bias. I don't know how to have hindsight per se. If you look at it in my vision, it's just maybe if I could have done more. So if you say hindsight in that position, then yes.
And do you recall Ms. Farish saying to you, none of us could have ever
Objection,
imagined
Your Honor.
that something like this would
Objection, Your
occur?
Honor.
Yeah. That,
She keeps going.
yeah. There, an objection has been made. Do you have any response that you would like to make to that objection?
He brought up the conversation with Ms. Farish.
All right, but what's your specific objection then?
Objection. The objection is the statement of Ms. Farish is a hearsay statement.
The question itself is hearsay. Do you have a response to
It's
that?
not offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
What's your response to that?
Your Honor, there is no other purpose that it could be offered other than the impressions of somebody who is not relevant to the matter here, and it's hearsay, whether or not it's relevant.
All right, I'm going to sustain the objection. I'm going to order that it be stricken from the record and you not to consider any of that language that came from the question, came from an attorney, and is not testimony. All right, thank you. All right, any other questions?
No further questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, do you want him excused or either resequestered or on leave for
He's
call?
released from our subpoena, Your Honor.
Okay,
He's under subpoena with the defense, so
Okay.
we would ask that he remain in contact with us if we need to call him again.
all right, and you have the ability to contact
Yes,
him?
we do.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'm going to allow you to go back to work, and I'm assuming that if you were called back, it will take you about an hour to get here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will give you at least that much of a heads up. You are still a witness in this case because you're under subpoena by both sides. So I'm directing you and in fact ordering you not to discuss your testimony with anyone about this case. If anyone asks, you were in court. That is all you're allowed to say. Any questions for me?
No, sir.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right.